I hope the full screen is visible for everyone and I'm audible. Thank you. A very good morning to all the lovely humans present in Pittsburgh, and a very good afternoon and evening for everyone present in the Eastern time zones. Myself, Mohammed Arshad Ahmed. Currently, I'm pursuing computer science and engineering, and I'm in my third year of study at National Institute of Technology, Silchar. And I, along with my co-authors, Madhura Chatterjee, Pankaj Dadure, and Dr. Partha Pakray, would like to express our gratitude to GEICSE 2022 for providing us with this opportunity to present our research paper. So here in this slide, we've mentioned about the abstract of our paper, and we will be elaborating on these points in the following slides. Gender bias is something that is evident almost everywhere. And in India, that is my country, this bias starts right from the birth of a child. Historically, in many places of the world, women were seen more as a nurturing figure than while men, on the other hand, were seen as the caretakers of the home, and they were seen as responsible for foraging food in the earlier times. However, in due course of time, for most of the patriarchal societies, women were pigeonholed. And it was only after the 19th century, in the times of the suffrage movements, that women started to rise above the patriarchal norms. However, since these changes were realized only recently, there is quite an existing underrepresentation of women in most of the professional sectors. Thus, we've come up with the concept of a cycle of bias, where the models learning from the biased data sets keep on showing biased results, thus ingraining prejudiced mindsets into the users. To break this cycle, we will either need to give in unbiased data or de-bias the data fed into the systems. Now, I'd like to request Madhura to continue.
Am I audible?
Yes, Madhura, you are.
Yes. Okay, so providing a brief background to our problem statement, even though female representation is getting stronger, most societies are far from equal. The perception of women in society as well as media is far from improving. Next slide, please. So we have explored backgrounds of gender bias in 6 domains of society. We would like to start with healthcare. According to some statistics that we have acquired, women comprise about 50 to 75% of healthcare workforce. However, when we delve deeper into the statistics, we realize that women are better represented only in the lower paying fields, such as home health workers, nurses, and lower paying specialties such as pediatricians. And in fields, in specialties such as physicians, surgeons, and pharmacists, males are the one who are more in number. This leads to missing out on a female perspective in medicine, causing several problems. And overall, this disparity links words such as nurse to females and words such as surgeons to males, thus influencing the search engine to rank female surgeons below males. Next slide, please. Next slide, please, Arshad.
Excuse me, Madhura. Just a second. The PPT is somewhat stuck on this slide. Just a second. Okay. I moved trees. Okay. Healthcare,
okay.
Education.
Okay. Sorry for the technical disturbance. Education is the next sphere we would like to explore upon. Gender bias in education affect both men and women, both during and after their academic responsibilities. So from the statistics provided in this slide, we can conclude that there is a higher percentage of female faculty at a primary level of education. However, as the level of education increases, like as we go from preschools to schools to colleges to universities to labs, the percentage of male faculty increases while that of female faculty decreases. This causes further bias in search engines. Search engines associate the word teacher to females and the word professor to males. And also a few subjects such as humanities and arts are associated with females, while other subjects such as science and maths are associated with males. Next slide, please. Now we will talk about the STEM sector, that is the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics sector. Only 19 to 21% of engineering students are women. And from that small percentage, only 24 to 38% of these women actually go on to work in the field of choice, in the field of study. So this causes an imbalance in data, which results in the associating which results in the associating of words such as engineer and computer um, with males, and the word engineers and computers with males. And in these cases, when these certain words are used to inquire the server, male names are ranked before females. I would like to ask Arshad to please continue.
Now, in case of film industry, in spite of women being well represented, the pay gaps between the lead actors and actresses, sexual abuse in film industry, and hostile work environment for the female counterparts are indicative of the fact that many more glass ceilings are yet to be shattered. So, the status the representation of women in this read out one of them, that is working on the top 250 grossing films in 2021, down from 18% in 2020. Overall, women accounted for 25% of those working in key behind the role scene roles in 2021. And we can see that in many roles such as cinematography, film and music composition, the number of female representation in these roles is quite less, and hence also due to some factors such as cinematography has been adhered to as a masculine activity because of this because the stack of camera equipment associated with it, and it is actually a result of unconscious societal bias. Thus, due to existential representation disparity in word embeddings, the keywords director, producer, cinematographer are more closer associated with the pronoun his than to the pronoun her. And in the next slide, when we gloss over to the food industry, though most women are involved in day-to-day cooking activities in India or in any other countries, it is quite the opposite seen in professional culinary kitchens. Research show that men make up for 80 to 90% of chefs, while women hold only 10% of executive chef positions, earning nearly 22% less as compared to their male counterparts. So possible reasons for this might include the constant struggle for women to choose between a career and having a family, which forces some of the women to take a step back. And women are also not provided with timings flexible enough to balance both these fields, and they're rather expected to choose one over the other. Similarly, the points also infer upon the fact that in the AI NLP world, the word cook has a greater degree of association with the with home cook, and thus in turn home cooks have a greater degree of association with female gender rather than male gender in word embeddings. So chef has a greater degree of association with male gender as a result of direct bias in word embeddings. So also, if you move on to the sports world, athletics and sports is one of the few areas where the bias seems comparatively less. The participation of women, the participation rate of women in Olympic and Paralympic games has been increasing over the last 90 years. However, if you see the statistics, slightly more men than women are employed in sports. Like the percentage is not much. The difference in the percentage is not much. There's 55% versus 45% for males and females respectively. However, correspondingly, in the AI NLP sector, sports usually refer to male teams unless specifically asked for the female teams. This specifically results. This is specifically reflected in information retrieval systems, wherein if we query Indian cricket team, then it gives results mainly related to the men's team, even though the user didn't explicitly mention whether they were asking about the men's cricket team or women's cricket team. Now I'd like Madhura to continue with this section.
Oh, yes. So AI or artificial intelligence can be described as the ability of machines to mimic the human brain. And much like the human brain, an AI machine learns from its past actions. Hence, if we provide data sets with bias, if we provide data sets which have a large amount of certain data that is biased, then such models, when we provide such models, it gets implemented in future events. And this causes a lot of problems and amplifies the already existing bias. In the following slides, we will talk about a few AI NLP applications which show the amplification of bias. Next slide, please. Automated resume screening, or as more popularly known, ATS, or applicant tracking system, is used by recruiters to review thousands of applications which a job gets daily. ATS analyzes the company's past hires and formulates a pattern for candidate selection. However, this can create a bias according to past hire data. For example, if candidates from a rival company have been hired in the past year, then the ATS which is selecting the candidate will form a pattern that this company is more suitable for our company, that candidates from this company is more suitable for our company, when it is not like that. This can also translate into gender bias. If maximum data is male, then the ATS prefers male over female. Since most hires in the past were male, the system tends to reject female candidates solely because of their gender. In 2015, Amazon faced a situation where the ATS system it was using turned out to be biased against women. However, they did take the necessary steps to remove the bias once it was identified. Next slide, please. GPT-3 is an advanced autoregressive language model that uses deep learning to produce human-like text. And studies show that GPT-3 is biased. For example, it returns doctor as masculine, as a masculine noun, and nurse as a feminine noun. So the model was fed with a few prompts to check bias, and it was noted that professions related to education and labor lean towards male, while professions such as midwife, nurse, receptionist, and housewife lean towards female. Females were also associated with adjectives based on appearances, while males were given a more diverse set of adjectives. Next slide, please. According to Stalberg et al., languages are grouped into three categories: genderless, notional gender languages, and grammatical gender language. Genderless languages, there seems to be a problem in the assumed gender when a sentence is translated from one type of language to another. Genderless has no differences in grammatical gender. Notional gender displays a system of pronuncial gender, and grammatical gender languages have gender associated to all nouns, both living and non-living. In our slide, we have explained with an example from Hindi. For context, sari is a attire worn by females. While translating from English from English to Hindi, we inputted "I wear a sari." Nowhere is it said that the sari is worn by a man or a woman. However, in Hindi, it is getting translated to "मैं साड़ी पहनता हूँ." Pehenta is used for males. Similarly, when we assign the color pink to the sari, it becomes female. It assumes that the person wearing the sari is female. However, when we assign the color blue to the sari, then it assumes again that the person is male. Also, it assumes the system assumes that the dancer was dancing, the dancer is a female. And the beautician was very good, it assumes the beautician to be female. I would ask Arshad to continue, please.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you have used all the time, including the question. So you have used 15 minutes already.
Can we quickly gloss over the remaining 3 slides? We'll be quick about it if you allow.
Yes, but just 2 minutes.
Sure. Thank you. So in this slide, we are mentioning about how online ads, how gender bias also creeped into the online ads section. And we've mentioned research which stated how Google showed that more higher salary jobs as ads to males rather than females. And similarly, with Lambert and Tucker conducted a field study using Facebook ads to send messages about STEM careers to cross-section of men and women aged between 18 and 65 in 191 countries. And analysis of the data revealed that despite the campaign targeting both of the genders, 20% more men than women were seeing those ads. And similarly, for in case of information retrieval systems, at an age when when almost all the people use Google search, we can see that women in various roles are underrepresented in Google image search results. So we've given a few examples that we've taken ourselves. Here we can see variations of the word professor. Google using different keywords, and we can see it is majorly represented by male figures. Whereas when we Google when we Google for different roles in film industry, we can see a bit more female representation, but it is not realistic to the real world statistics. And however, when we Google variations of the keyword school teachers, then we can see majorly female representation, even though the representation of male and female in case of the teaching sector is almost balanced. And similarly, when we search results for here, I've pasted 2 screenshots. When I search for the query, my husband yells at me. It mainly shows how to calm your wife and such answers. But when someone searches my husband yells at me, it implies that a woman is searching for the same, and it correspondingly displays the domestic violence helplines and counseling. So in this report, so now we've come down to the conclusion part. In this report, we've highlighted how gender bias creep down into our society, and from societal bias, it creeps its way to AI and NLP sectors, and we've picked out a few AI and NLP applications. And also, as a part of our work, we are using hard debiasing techniques in ML to debias and remove the gender dimension from gender-neutral words from all the existing bias data sets that were fed into the systems for information retrieval. And we will be proceeding with testing it in information retrieval systems. Also, we, as a part of the solution to combat gender bias in AI and NLP, what we are suggesting is that there should be more ethical guidelines. For example, if information retrieval system is biased, then it should
Thank you very much. It's very interesting, but I must